Hey y'all, what's up? Coach Hyde coming at you live, Jackson County High School Digital Day. Just want to take some time to review some cell organelles and just try to keep this kind of quick. Um, I'm going into a whole lot of detail about every one, just to kind of make sure you get the general idea, general concept. So if you take a look at this picture is pretty cool. Um, warning, I found this on Facebook, but if it's on the internet, it's true. Everybody knows that. Right? Don't put stuff on the internet that's not true. But I tried to do a little research to see if this was legit. And there's like an artist that is using data that scientists have gathered to draw images and make images. So this is, to the best of my knowledge, I could be completely wrong, but as far as I could tell, this is the most detailed model of a human cell to date. And you can kind of see, so here's a cell, right? There's one. This would be a cell over here too. So two cells there. This would be like the extracellular matrix, so the area between cells. You can see is kind of just full of all kind of stuff. This would be where you know uh, cell transport comes involved, and stuff like that later on in the unit. But just kind of looking in here, I mean, this is hard for me to even pick out. What's what. Still, we have like some cytoskeletons, nucleus, different things like that. Such in here, we got our ER, Golgi, cell membrane, protein. I guess protein could be cholesterol lodged in the cell. So this is pretty cool, and it kind of really shows how much is in the cell, how much is going on in just one of our cells all the time. Right? It's nuts. It's right? Blows your mind. I love thinking about it. It's awesome. So I just wanted to show you that. Um, and you'll learn about all these things one day, hopefully, all these little receptors and antigens and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, moving on to kind of the basics, organelle style. So, all right, so kind of looking first on the outside of the cell. So this is like the cell's, primary layer of defense. This is, kind of like our skin as the whole human body, like the cell membrane is like the skin of the cell. Um, and then the cell wall, which would be in plant cells and prokaryotes, is like an even more rigid layer outside. So if we had like a protecting covering over our skin, kind of like a jacket or a shirt, that could be kind of like our cell wall. Um, the cell wall is more rigid than the cell membrane. Um, so you see here the orange around the cell. This is our cell membrane. So plant cells and stuff still have the cell membrane. They just have the extra outer cell wall, which if you remember from the macromolecules unit is made of cellulose. All right, and then the cell membrane is made of phospholipids, of course. So we have this phospholipid bilayer, right, where it has polar regions and non-polar regions as well. This kind of protects, the cell. It only lets certain things in, doesn't let other things in, right? So that's kind of our beginning point there. The next piece, kind of same category as cell wall, cell membranes, but not really. So this would be like inside the cell, and this provides us with the structure inside of our cell, and kind of like the infrastructure, I like to say. So if you think of infrastructure, these are like highways, roads, bridges, apartment complexes, office spaces, all these kind of things are your infrastructures, fire stations, police stations, schools. So the cytoskeleton kind of provides the structure and the layout of the cell. So you see here all these microtubules, microfilaments, and stuff like that make this like webbing throughout the cell. It kind of helps the cell, maintain its shape and keep things where they're supposed to be. In this image over here, you also see, you've seen this image like 10 times by now, if not more. But these things that I'm trying to highlight, I don't know if you can see my mouse. I hope you can at this point. But that's part of our cytoskeleton. You can see them all in the background over here as well. Remember, this is our motor protein, right? And it's carrying a vesicle, right? We'll talk a little bit more about vesicles later on as well. So also this area in between all the cytoskeleton and the organelles, that looks like empty space. It's not empty space. It's not, a vacuum. It's not a gas. It is the cytoplasm, which in my mind I just think of this gel fluid-like situation going on. Right. Moving on. So this here is the endomembrane system. This is like, I don't know, main processes of the cell, I guess, the essential functioning components. If you had to just give a general rundown of what's happening in the cell, what does the cell do, you'd focus on this endomembrane system as a basis for all cells. So we start up here with the nucleus, right? Inside the nucleus, we have the nucleolus, which is, I don't know if that's that might be chromatin, right? Chromatin is crunched up DNA with the histone protein. But inside we also have the nucleolus. The nucleolus is in the nucleus, and its job is to take, RNA and make ribosomes from the instructions of the DNA. So this nucleus houses our genetic information, which is the blueprints. All of our instructions for everything that gets done comes from this DNA. Then surrounding the nucleus is this nuclear envelope, aka the nuclear membrane, right? Then you have outside the rough ER and the smooth ER. We notice the rough ER has ribosomes. Anything with ribosomes probably makes proteins, because that's what ribosomes do. Put together proteins or amino acid chains. Now over here, the smooth ER does not have the ribosomes, but it's still going to make stuff for the cell. It's going to make lipids, which are phospholipids, cholesterol, whatever we need to make kind of over there in that area. These are connected to the nuclear envelope, the nuclear membrane. It's one continuous long membrane, right? So we get instructions from the nucleus. It goes out to the rough ER, the smooth ER, and tells us what we need to make. Once we make these things, right, we can take it to this organelle here, which is the Golgi body, Golgi apparatus, Golgi whatever. It's the Golgi. Right? And what this Golgi does, it's going to kind of finalize the process of production, and it's going to package it up, right, in vesicles, and so that it can ship it out. Remember, a vesicle is basically just a moving vacuole, right? Think about the large central vacuole in a plant. It's just stuck in the middle of the plant, holds water. So they're not moving, but they're still membrane bound like storage organelles. Vesicle is the same thing, but it can be transported from point A to B. Another thing similar to the vesicle in appearance is the lysosome. The big difference is you see the vesicle is kind of empty, right? Because it's not always empty, right? If you store something in it, then it obviously will have something in it, kind of like this situation right here. The lysosomes, if you look inside, they have enzymes, and they will break down things in the cell, whatever that may be. Maybe foreign invaders get into the cell. The lysosomes can engulf them and break them down with their enzymes. So that's kind of what they do. All right, kind of moving on to the last two, I guess, big components are your energy makers. Mitochondria on the left and chloroplast on the right. Mitochondria is responsible for cellular respiration, taking that sugar, taking that oxygen, taking all that stuff and creating energy, which we know is in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And then over here, the chloroplast, and here's you can identify chloroplasts in plant cells, right? They are responsible or are the site of photosynthesis, which is taking the sunlight, carbon dioxide, water, all that, and making energy, also in the form of ATP. So that's kind of a general rundown of cell organelles. If you know that, you should be ready to roll. Questions? Let me know. I'll leave you get this picture here. The picture is so cool. I could just stare at it for hours. Cool stuff. All right. Here y'all. Have a good DL day.